Hello and welcome to D Gamer back again, which is actually kind of rare nowadays considering. Um, Today I thought I'd just sort of go through, the history of the 2D gamer or TE 2D gamer on YouTube. Um, I don't actually really remember when I first heard about YouTube. I guess it goes back to forums, gaming forums. That's the first time I ever really even saw a YouTube video. And as far as forums go, I used to go on the Game FAQs forums back in 2002, 2003, and I'd post on those forums. And if you remember how they were back in the day, they were filled with some pretty rotten, nasty people. I mean, if you asked any question, you were just going to get some smart aleck answer, or just people were just pretty nasty. And I don't remember how long I posted on those forums. I think whenever GameSpot, almost said GameStop, whenever GameSpot bought them, I never changed over my account. I don't remember if that was 2003, 2004. Either way, I was already done and burnt out with gaming forums anyways. I was tired of everyone and people, and it was just not a really great experience. Now the forums are okay. I stay away from the next gen stuff, but if you go to the retro forums on any system, you'll find cool people to talk to. But back then it was just filled with just the rot of society or something like that. But and around must have been a couple years that I didn't go on forums, so I came back and there were two forums that I would go to that I started posting at again. I recreated a Game FAQs account, but I never really went on there, and so I went back to GamePro.com and PSM.com, two forums I previously had an account with. So, but this was near the end of when PSM, they ended up, I think they got rid of their website, or they completely got rid of their forums. So a lot of the forumers on the PSM forum boards went and created their own forums. That I forget which program or website they use that lets you create your own forums. But they created a little forum called Nook, TEH Nook. So sort of where I got the Te thing. But it was also my introduction to YouTube videos being able to be shared on forums, because if you Game FAQ still I don't think lets you. They're really barren, but so I remember someone posting a video of the angry video game nerd, and a lot of people started YouTube watching this guy, and it was the first video I ever saw of his was the Atari 5200, a system which I've had for years, but I don't have that little box with the power and RFU module and all that stuff. So I remember, that was sort of my introduction to YouTube, posted through those forums, and I came back to GamePro.com and I had an old account named after the Sam Squanch in Final Fantasy VI, Umaro or Umaro or whatever you call him. But for some reason I changed my password once and it locked me out, and I could never get back into my account. So I was creating different accounts. I had a Dookie Cakes account. That was my old online screen name for reasons of, if I suck at the game, I named myself Dookie Cakes. But if I beat you, you just got beat by a guy named Dookie Cakes. But that one too, I changed my account, and what it turned out is they can only put a certain amount of characters in for the password, so my account wasn't actually locked out. But so I finally went with TEH 2D Gamer on the GamePro.com forums. So and I would always use YouTube, because once I discovered it, and I always have a bunch of questions about certain games. Back in the day, you'd always see pictures in the magazines and stuff, and you read their descriptions, but they you never actually got to see the game in action. So YouTube was sort of my own research tool for my own collection and collecting. And I don't remember exactly when I got my capture card. It obviously was around September 2007, but I don't remember how long I was on YouTube, and but I would always look, just looking for random and obscure games that no one had ever heard about. But back at that time, there was a bit of a problem. See, everyone had already done these, I guess, Let's Play, because I never liked Let's Play. Whenever I was researching for straight up gameplay footage, I'd always come across some child who downloaded an emulator, didn't know how to play the game, and was just trashing it or talking or trying to be entertaining. Either way, it was really annoying whenever I was trying to watch the gameplay footage. And that's still why I'm still... I've come around a little bit more to Let's Play, but still why I always just kind of like... Because I was always, wanting to know how a game plays, because I was always curious, or... sorry, even like obscure games for systems that I either owned, or like when I was trying to figure out what was good for my 32X, because I just only recently had it. It came $30 for a 32X, and like I forget how many games I got with it whenever I got it. But further review or further, you go on the forums and people would suggest games, and then I started going to YouTube looking up footage. But again, sometimes that footage was just incredibly annoying to watch because it wasn't straight up gameplay video. I didn't really care what some child thought about a game that they didn't know how to play and were too young to even remember playing, to even have been a part of playing, in that era, to even understand, one, that era, or two, how to play the game, because there's even games that were actually still pretty darn good that you still see people, ripping into and tearing into. But, and sorry, I'm going to ramble a lot in this video. But, so anyways, so yeah, I'd use YouTube as my own research tool, but there were gaps in certain systems, and I really wanted a capture card, because I still have a semi-decent collection, You get some of those collectors on there that are just crazy, So my collection is still pretty decent, my PS2 collection, over 400 games, and PS1, over 200 now. Those are my two biggest collections. But there were gaps, specifically in the PS1 era of games. Like, obviously you had, like NES Guide or Super NES Guide, who would show every single Super Nintendo and NES game in action. So that wasn't really where the gaps, and so I just started putting up just random gameplay videos, even though my first video was Sonic on the Sega Genesis, playing it with a Game Genie, and it's always really funny when people would get on there and be like, what ROM are you running? It's like, well, the ROM I'm running is a Sega Genesis with a Game Genie attached, like the title suggests. But my first videos were all pretty low quality because YouTube, one, had really strict posting guidelines, and my video software, you could only go 100 megabytes for your video, and I didn't have any. My software is sort of a space hog as far as the videos go, so I always had to downgrade my initial videos to fit either the 10-minute mark or the 100 megabyte mark. So I could never put in full 10-minute videos until the restrictions started. Until the restrictions were raised or let up a little. But so I pretty much just wanted to put up straight up gameplay videos, because, in case someone was like me and they just wanted to know how the game played, and, no talking, the Let's Play thing, so that's, initially how I just sort of started. And then I remember coming across, I think it's Laffer35, his 100 NES games in 10 minutes and his 100 Super Nintendo games in 10 minutes, and then a lot of people followed suit with 100 this, 100 that, but I never saw a 100 PS1 games video. And so, realizing there was a gap there, and actually not knowing how to put titles in to put in the names at the time. You know, I was still so new to video editing. I had no idea I could have put the names in, but in his videos, the names weren't in there either. You know, I guess I overestimated people's ability to look at a list in the description and figure out what game it is. Because even to this day, you go on there and they'll be like, well, what's the game at 6 minutes and 37 seconds? It's like, wow, just find a game you know and count down. Or if it's something you played back in the day, then you might recognize the name just offhandedly. So, I started work on my 100 PS1 games video. I don't remember which videos I had in between there. I'd have to go back and look to see what videos I had in between, my Sonic 2 with Game Genie video and then my 100 PS1 games video. And, the really sucky thing is, because of the posting restrictions and it was a 10-minute long video, I couldn't, put it in at its full quality. I had the full, nice quality version on my hard drive, but I had to downgrade it to a lesser quality to fit their posting restrictions, which is why it looks so crummy nowadays, because as YouTube started looking better and better and expanding into HD and all that stuff, my old videos started looking crummier and crummier. Like, I don't know why. They just upgrade and then it looked worse than it did before. Not sure why. So, and the hard drive, I had that really nice looking video of it, or version of it, on, ended up taking a crap on me, and so that and a lot of my earlier videos are, gone. I'd like to put up a high quality version of it, but that's also why I ended up remaking. But my 100 PS1 games video, I think, took me exactly 3 straight days from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed to make. And my PS2 that died last year was the system that I did it all on. Any PS1 and PS2 games up till last year were done on this little slim PS2. Lasted me 10 years from the time I was 19 when I bought it till just last year. And, 3 days, just putting games in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And the thing later in its life sometimes had trouble spinning certain discs. But for the most part, that thing was a beast, considering how much torture I put it through with all the video making. But like my 100 PS1 games video, my 100 PS2 games video, my 100 more PS2 games video, and my remade PS1 games montage, with 100 plus games, which has all the names and pretty much almost every game I had in the PS1 100, my original video, except for Legend of Mana. I forgot that one, but had all of them with their names, but no one watched that one over my original video even today. But so 3 straight days, and I was so new to this. Now I've got it down pat. It would still probably take me at least 2 days if I was doing it from scratch, but luckily I have so much saved footage on an external hard drive now. See, I already learned from my mistakes, but sorry. Sorry. So yeah, 3 straight days in and out of that PS2, and I finally put it up, and I don't know if I was the first one to do 100 PS1 games video, but it's still it's almost hit 1 million views, which isn't that great considering that some people, put up any video and they instantly get almost 1 million views, but it's almost at 1 million views. Old video, and I wasn't thinking, back in the day they didn't have such hard copyright standards for their videos. So I put in, that track where Liu Kang is fighting Reptile, from the Mortal Kombat movie, and then I put something else behind it. But they were both copyrighted material, and then you got away with it back then because they weren't so strict about it. It was still a smaller site, but obviously I wasn't thinking, because if I was, that's why I started creating my own little crappy music to throw on my montages, so someone else doesn't try and get claims off of it, even though they still do. Like if you list any Konami game, they'll instantaneously put a visual content thing on it, which is really annoying. But, for 6 seconds of footage, it's like, do you own the other 99 games shown in that video? Are you going to get ad revenue off of Squaresoft's games? Or anyway, rambling again. So, I went to the 100 PS1 games videos, and then sometime later, I found out or was introduced somehow to the Happy Video Game Nerd. And me, myself, if you haven't noticed, I tend to focus on the positive sides of even some of the worst games, that people say are horrendous, or some of the worst games ever made, or like, just games that most people wouldn't find redeemable. And it's like, well, I'm always the type of person that looks at what the game does right, what I like about the game, as opposed to just, I don't know, overdoing it or overacting on how crappy a game is. Because, AVGN came, and then, the game bashing videos were the cool thing. So what I really enjoyed about the Happy Nerd was, he cover the happier, the good games, or the underrated classics, the underrated. Anyway, his song when he started. But so that's what I really liked. So he was covering underrated games. So I was looking through, and that's where I was inspired to, do my PS2 underrated gems. And and if you look at how quickly I put some of those early videos up, it's like, why do you suck at this game? Like, I completely removed comments on my downhill domination video, because I had a tendency, and YouTube has kind of given me this tendency to quickly play a game or without doing a practice run, or I have this tendency also where my practice run is, I do great in my practice run, but the second I hit capture on my capture card, I just suck it up so completely. Sometimes, it's like I'm capture footage 10 times in a row, and it's like, okay, this one's good enough. But if you look at how quickly I put up a lot of my early underrated gems videos, it's, I just kind of banged them out pretty quickly. Didn't take a lot of time, learning them and playing them, because the point really wasn't how great I was as a player. I mean, anyone can sit there and take the time, or at the time, montages too. Oh my goodness. The point wasn't to promote myself. The point was to promote the games. And so that's where I got the concept for the underrated things. And let me clarify. Back in the day, the forums, there'd be tons of topics for underrated games. What are some underrated games on the N64? Or what are some underrated games on the PS1? What are some underrated games? So that's why I use the title underrated. I didn't realize that in the modern world, where there's Metacritic and stuff, that people would actually be like, well, this game's not underrated because it got rated a 9.753753 by ignorantgaming.com. Oh, it's like, okay. When underrated or overlooked or hidden gem, we used to use it interchangeably, so people were just like, well, it's not underrated because, its ratings were actually pretty good. So, but these are games that the gaming community as a whole either esteem too low, or so that, I've gotten in pitiful arguments with people. It's not underrated, man. It's underplayed. It's about the same thing, really, honestly. But, it's the interwebs, so people be what people be. So, yes, I started my underrated PS2 games, and then, I branched it off as well as I could to other systems, mostly PS1 the most, I think. I've tried branching it out to other systems as well, Xbox, GameCube, even some Super Nintendo, but, and I would like to expand it more, but I don't know if I'll ever have time to even, I don't even know if I'll be able to get back around to doing the PS2 underrated gems, so I'd actually like to hand the torch off to just anyone, all of you who are listening. If you have a capture card or capture device, I've already said it in the past. I'm not the only one that can show underrated or overlooked or hidden gems or whatever you want to call it. I'm happy to watch other people's videos, and you know, you know, I might have shown some of you certain games, and you bought a bunch of games based off of my videos. But I'm still looking and exploring all my own systems, and if there's a game that you think I've missed, and um, you have the ability to make a video, then by all means, you can even call it a underrated gems. Get traffic off of my videos if you want. I don't even know how to accept video responses anymore on YouTube. They keep changing it like every time I go away for a long time. But if you want, I mean, I don't know if I can just automatically automatically let you, because sometimes I get on sporadically and don't have time to always check to see who's putting something as a response video to my videos. But put it as a response to any of my videos, and get views off of any of my videos that you want to put as a response. I'm okay with that. But anyways, I've tried to branch it out to a bunch of different systems, but again, I always end up coming back to the PS2 and the PS1, especially when it comes to a lot of the retro systems. It's sort of burnout territory. I mean, there are some people that, as far as I'm concerned, hold the market as far as Super Nintendo, NES, Genesis, not Master System. That's actually there's an open market for someone if you want to get into that one. My collection still needs tons of work. It's one of my newer systems that I've bought. I don't even remember how long I've had it, but yeah, as far as the retro gig thing, and I don't know, I think a lot of gamers are kind of getting burnt out of that sort of burnout territory, I think, as far as covering. Not that there aren't still games that haven't gotten, their day in the sun, the attention that they deserve. Some underrated game that you absolutely, want to show people on the NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, whatever other retro consoles there are, because there's a bunch of them. TurboGrafx, there you go. Something I still need to get. I'm still collecting, but as far as the older systems, it's sort of burnout territory as far as covering, the underrated gems. And I don't remember, because I didn't have a magazine subscription back before, like, the PS1 and N64 days. A few magazines here and there, but I don't remember what ratings or what hype certain games got back in their day. So that also puts me at a disadvantage. Whereas the PS1, PS2, and beyond era, I remember I still have all my old magazines too to look up. I don't actually have them with me right now, but I still have an old archive so I can look up and see what got hyped and what the reviews were and what people said about it back then, and and then compare it to what people say about it now. But anyway, I'm off. So that's also why I have a better perspective from PS1 and N64 on, and that's also why I cover a lot of newer. Well, not really newer anymore, but yeah, you know what I mean. Post 16-bit era games. And again, the reason I cover mostly PS1 and PS2 is because they're my biggest libraries. If I'm gonna go deep into, say, like my N64 library, well, I don't even think I have 100 N64 games yet. There are some games I would like to cover, but I have to play into them more, and some obscure things, Body Harvest. Hybrid Heaven is actually kind of a really cool game too. You should probably look into that one too. And let's see, I covered Mischief Makers. I don't know. See, Mystical Ninja, and there's some other things, but I'm still better versed because I have a better position on the PS2 and PS1 because I have the most games on them, and that's also why I cover them more than any other system. Let's see. As for plans for the future, I'm gonna be doing more of the review stuff. Uh, I was working on 5 PS2 games worth playing, but again, narrowing down 15 games because 5 games and 2 suggestions. That's 15 games that I pretty much have to do in a video. I will try and get that out sometime. I haven't even started on it. I haven't even picked the 5 games because every time I pick 5, I'm like, oh wait, no, I should pick this game instead. It's really hard to make up my mind. So I'm probably, and I also wanted to go back and redo some of my old underrated gem videos, not the gameplay version, but try and take it and make it more of like a review. So as for, again, it's going to make it hard for me to go and keep exploring new games, and if I'm going back and trying to redo some of my old games and maybe show off more than just some really poorly played gameplay. And it's also something YouTube has kind of done. I honestly cannot remember the last time I played through a game from start to finish. When I got really heavy into, showing gameplay footage, I'd wake up and, just like, well, what game should I show off today? So I sort of stopped playing games from start to finish. Like, my whole gaming experience is, I've played through and finished some games, but YouTube has sort of turned my gaming experience into like a giant demo disc, to where I just sort of play a game, get a video of it, and then kind of stop playing after that for some reason. Which, I shouldn't, but at least for me personally, if I'm going to be reviewing games more or going through them, that requires me to play all the way through them to get various footage, and so I've obviously already slowed down as far as uploading videos. I don't have as much free time as I used to. I used to put 2, 3, 4 videos up a day at least. Record 10 minutes of footage, edit it, and call it good. Make the video, call it good, upload it, and but time constraints now, and I think everyone just sort of got a whole lot busier. Even I was never really like a part of the gamer thing on YouTube, but there were still guys I'd talk to or watch their videos, and a lot of them too. They've either they've either moved on or they're not as active as they used to. There's a guy, Elbrian. Oh crap! Why can't I remember the last number? Anyways, he used to do playthroughs, and that dude was amazing at what he did. Just like his practice runs, where he wasn't even trying, are better than my best runs in any game. But and it started to burn him out too, because it's I guess it's sort of my own fault too, and to let YouTube kind of burn you out of gaming because you feel like you're gaming for an audience or something, even though my audience is kind of small, which I appreciate your guys' views. I'm not. See, Elbrian. Who else? See, obviously I like the happy nerd more than the angry nerd. And I even sometimes would watch Irate Gamer. I actually just subscribed to him. The big, Irate hack. That's really old, actually. But I've also noticed that gaming is kind of shifted now. Anyways, it seems that actually I know some kids who will sit there and just watch YouTube all day. Like, they have a regiment of YouTube videos, and I guess Minecraft is like the hot thing, more than like anything else. This episodic Minecraft stuff. And that's what everyone's trying to actually reproduce now. That I've noticed, as I'm looking around. Like, I've never been much for trends. I don't hit off the popular stuff. Like there's some people, go to IGN or I don't even know who the current news site is. Is Kotaku even still around? Or I spent the last year without internet, and I'm really out of the gaming loop. But I kind of didn't miss a lot of the gaming loop stuff because it was really the day-to-day stupidity of the gaming media and just people. But I've never been one for trends. Some people will take like the latest headline and make an instant video and give their thoughts and get however many instant hits, and then by tomorrow everyone forgot about the entire thing. And I just always sort of did my own thing, and that's... I don't even know where I'm going with this. Just, again, warning, there will be plenty of rambling in this video. 2D Gamer didn't even write anything down before he started this video. He's just kind of... Anyway. But yeah, Minecraft, duh. Sorry. They got the Minecraft thing, or it's like more episodic now. Everyone's trying to kind of not recreate, but when everyone else started, it was AVGN, and everyone had to do the this game sucks. It's a fecal matter load of fornication, or whatever else. Doing the crappy game reviews. I have to play it, so you don't. Insert drinking a beverage, an adult beverage. And the sigh. And then, this piece of crap, whenever you're the scene where they're sitting there playing the controller and staring at the screen really, really angrily. But anyways, that's what everyone started out, imitating. Whereas I was more interested in I wanted gameplay. I wanted to know how games play. And I'm not sure with the partnership thing, if putting up straight up gameplay video, it doesn't matter. Screw it. Whatever. I do what I want. But, either way, I got really sidetracked. But, that's what it is. I've realized that in the 7 years I've been here on YouTube, the gaming scene and everything has sort of changed. A lot of the guys I used to watch, they either, like I said, don't even post anymore or have really slowed down. And there's only so much stuff you can cover and recover, and before people just kind of get tired of all that. But I realize there's an entirely new generation of kids that are watching new videos and are being inspired by something different than what we were just 7 years ago, which doesn't seem that long ago. But I guess, it's long enough for the kids to grow up, and some of them, I don't know if they're that interested in the whole retro scene, or, it's mostly whatever's popular. And for me, I'm just going to continue to do what I do and how I want to do it. And if you like it, then I guess it's, thank you for watching my stuff, especially since, I try, but again, my stuff isn't that great as far as I'm concerned. I only have so much time, like with the voiceovers and stuff. You can hear me stutter all the time in some of my videos because I get one day to do all voiceover for any script I'm writing, and so sometimes I'm so tired of repeating the same paragraph 5 times over trying to get it perfect in one, tiny little bit, that even if I make one tiny mistake, I'm like, that's good enough. So sometimes my voice carrying and some of my other stuff isn't the most spectacular in all my videos, but again, time constraints. But as far as the future is concerned, again, I'm gonna have to scale it back. If I get one video out a month, I'm lucky with my schedule, but I keep trying and wanting to expand and be able to at least do a couple videos a month if I can. I don't get a lot of free time, but I will try as hard as I can. I'm actually working on one right now. I won't tell you what it is. I don't want you to be excited. Well, it wouldn't be super exciting, but it takes me a while to do these things. But and I don't want to jinx it, because every time I say, I'm going to try and get more videos out in a more timely fashion, is usually when I disappear for 3 to 4 months at a time and don't have the option to make videos, and then everyone thinks I died or something. Nah, but yeah, I'll just continue doing my own thing, and if you like it, you like it. Thank you for liking it. Even if, as a video maker, I see most of the flaws in my video, in what I say, or sometimes I repeat myself a lot, because as I'm writing it, I don't have a lot of time to edit through it, and then as I'm saying it, I realize that I just repeated myself, and sometimes I'll redo it, but other times, again, if I've only got one day for all the voiceover stuff, and then by the end of that day, I'm so sick and tired of even trying to do it that, I just go with what I got. So maybe if I was a little bit more patient, but I'm not. I've actually grown more impatient in my old age. And so that's sort of a summary of my YouTube experience. If you're, I guess I'll just end the video there. Again, I always get sidetracked with these things. Don't really know what to say, and I'll obviously throw up random gameplay footage. Got some games right here that I was planning on putting up, in the background, which if you're this far into the video, you're already watching whatever games I'm playing right now. But, I don't know. Perhaps, what's some of your guys' YouTube history or experience? I don't ever even figured out the tag video thing. I'm so, old-schooled and an old fuddy-duddy half the time. Actually, I just don't really pay attention. YouTube has always just been a tool for gaming for me, and as far as the other big accounts and stuff, I could never pay attention. Even the funny ones, after a while, I don't know, got a one-sided use for YouTube, and that's for video games, and video games alone. But anyway, I'll end the video there. I don't know if that is really a good in-depth history. There's a lot more, I could have went into, and I rambled and moved, but either way, this is 2D Gamer signing out.